The big headline is that Republicans continue to hang everything on Ambassador Volker. Hold on, we have Mark Meadows right here. Congressman Meadows, can we talk live? So he's walking by right now. But Republicans are really struggling to defend the president. Okay, great.
I'm not struggling on anything.
Okay, so Congressman.
So the Republicans are not struggling on anything.
I could watch that all day. The lack of a coherent strategy from the GOP suggests otherwise. Ever since the Ukraine scandal burst into public view, the president's party has had a really hard time trying to defend him. And as more details emerge, it's getting increasingly harder to do so. Lately, the Republicans are all over the place. Here's what we saw just today.
There are perfectly appropriate quid pro quos, and there are inappropriate quid pro quos. Just saying that there is a quid pro quo, at least based on my analysis of the evidence that I've seen so far, is a red herring.
I trust President Zelensky and President Trump, and I trust the fact that the Ukrainians didn't know that aid had been held, and Ukrainians did nothing to get it released when it was released.
What I can tell you about the Trump policy toward the Ukraine, it was incoherent. It depends on who you talk to. They seem to be incapable of forming a quid pro quo. I'm not going to read these transcripts. The whole process is a joke.
It's so incoherent. I think 11 people have testified to aid for dirt.
Yes, and also what's frustrating is that many of the members, it's not just Lindsey Graham who won't read the transcripts, a lot of my Republican colleagues, as you can read in the attendance, aren't showing up for these really, really important witnesses. And again, it's going to be a reset when we have the public hearings.
Yeah.
It's time to get serious. And the American people now are going to demand as constituents that their members of Congress get serious.
You know, I think it's interesting, too. I mean, how's Fox News going to cover this? And there are good and decent journalists working there who I'm sure will fight to cover the news of this. But, I mean, what's incomprehensible is what the three of them are saying. The four of them, if you put Meadows in there, we're not struggling. I mean, none of them are, I'm not speaking in sentences either right now, but none of them were in their defense of Trump.
Yeah. Gardner with us, he did this whole foghorn, leghorn, I say, I didn't really know. I mean, like, the amount of stumbling that they're doing, and here's I think what will be Fox News' difficulty when we talk about it, is they can go attack the people. They can find whatever kind of dirt that they want. But at the end of the day, the American people, and the congressman mentioned this, everybody else, everybody knows what the squeeze is, right? Everybody knows what happens when someone's putting the screws to you and make you do something that you don't want to do. And the only way that Fox can attack it is to sort of work in concert with the Republican Party to say that the process is bad, but you can't really complain about the process when it's public. Everyone has their chance to fight. Everyone has their chance to make a statement. So I think that's going to be the real danger here. And I think long term, what Republicans would really be concerned about, and I always keep saying this, I've said this all the time, it's the holidays. People are going to be talking about this now.
Mm-hmm.
This is these.
That's what I saw you say. People go home for Thanksgiving.
Yes, they're going to go home
with
for
their
Thanksgiving.
family.
Yes,
yeah.
Everyone's going to be processing this. We're going to have these hearings. We're going to have the Democratic debates, and then everybody's going to go home and talk about it. And if they have not managed to switch the narrative before we get to the second round of turkey, they're done. And I don't think the Republicans are going to be able to do that. Not with this much evidence, and not with the public sentiment towards impeachment has been improving for Democrats over and over and over again before we even got to these hearings. I can't imagine the hearings working against them.
Could you imagine any scenario where the Republicans are forced by public opinion, by the fact patterns, to move toward, to call down there and say, look, we got to censor you. We've got to do something.
I think there's more evidence has to come out that's damning. I think clearly, we've talked a lot about how Trump has gotten control of the GOP and that Fox is essentially his propagandists. What's common to all of that is they all live in this reality distortion field, and that's classic Trump. You deny facts, you deny what's right in front of your face, and then you move forward. So you end up with these absurdities of Lindsey Graham saying, I'm not even going to read the transcript, I don't care about the fact, but I'm going to damn the whole process all along. And that has worked for them, and they saw it work for Trump during the Mueller probe. And I think that that's the institutional danger in all of this, and the long-term damage Trump can cause is delegitimizing facts and institution and process in the service of his own survival.
I mean, I think the danger, though, I think when Lindsey Graham says, I'm not going to read the transcripts, he means to insult you. But he's actually, and I learned this in politics, when you treat voters like they're stupid, it backfires. And what he's saying is there's nothing in there that will... There's nothing exculpatory for the president. So I don't want to... You see no evil, hear no evil, do no... It's sort of like the Mike Pensification of the Senate Republicans.
He's making the Mick Mulvaney argument, which is get over it. basically.
Right.
When they come out and make these arguments that are laughable on their face, that everyone knows don't make any sense, they're not really trying to convince anyone with these arguments. They're just telling you, get over it. When Lindsey Graham, who just 3 weeks ago did an interview with Axios and was asked, well, is there anything that you would find disturbing? And he said, sure. Evidence of a quid pro quo, of the president engaging in a quid pro quo outside the phone call, I would find that disturbing. And then a couple days after we get that evidence, he says, well, I'm not going to read the transcript.
You want to see that? Let's watch that. That was good. It entertained me.
Show me something that is a crime. If you could show me that, Trump actually was engaging in a quid pro quo outside the phone call, that would be very disturbing.
So there you have it.
Yeah, there you have it. The congressman has it right here with him, the transcript. And it's the quid pro quo. It's there, and Lindsey's just saying, get over it, basically.
Right.
And I think the problem for the president is his defense is in conflict with their defense for him. They are now saying, well, it's a quid pro quo, but there are good quid pro quos and bad quid pro quos. And the president's like, no quid pro quo. And you have to at least be aligned in your defense. And again, I think when you see all these witnesses come in, it's going to be crystal clear to the American people, this was a shakedown, defense dollars for dirt, and it's a question of, is that what we want the president to do? Some people may say, this is what we elected when we got Donald Trump. I think most Americans are going to say our president should be better than that.
And I would just add that I think most Republicans think that he's someone who isn't too weak and too impotent to have to cheat. I mean, I actually think it cross-pressures his own brand to have to cheat, to be incapable of winning without cheating.
But Donald Trump has cheated since he was 20 years old. So, Donald Trump is a 73-year-old man. He's been doing this for 53 years. What you see in these transcripts is what Donald Trump did in real estate. Yeah. It's how he rolled in Atlantic City. He was in business with mobsters in New York and Atlantic City. He admires people who are thugs. He surrounded himself with people who have thug-like profiles, whether it's Corey Lewandowski or Rudy Giuliani or Steve Bannon. He likes guys who talk the talk. That's not going to change.
Yeah. Well, and we'll see. We'll see. Congressman, thank you for spending some time with us. We are grateful. After the break, the election.